AI philosophy, enabling humans to establish destiny for themselves and establish a mind for AI. 5 stages in the historical development and the end of metaphysical philosophy. Metaphysical philosophy evolved from ontology and theocratic thought to epistemology, then to methodology, for example, dialectics and existentialism, and was ultimately brought to an end by Wittgenstein's philosophy of language. Click the plus sign to follow this account for more fascinating content. Metaphysics originated from ancient Greek philosophers' inquiries into the essence of the world. 2 schools emerged at that time. One sought the underlying material substrate of reality, for instance, Democritus's atomism, investigating what substances constitute the world. The other pursued the supreme determinations of the world, such as Plato's theory of forms, exploring why the world exists. Aristotle labeled the former second philosophy, physics, and the latter first philosophy, metaphysics. The first stage of metaphysics is ontology, which pursues a supreme, eternal, and immutable form of being, in contrast to the ceaseless flux of empirical reality. The ancient Greeks held an almost religious obsession with the supreme entity, which evolved into theocratic thought in the Middle Ages, constituting the second stage of metaphysics. Ancient Greek metaphysics was criticized for its one-sided, isolated, and static character. It one-sidedly chased a presupposed supreme being while neglecting investigations of objective reality. It split appearance from noumenon and subject from object, rupturing the unified relation between thought and the world, and regarded all things as disconnected from one another. Such a static outlook treated the supreme entity as perfect and unshakable, denying the possibility of change and development in things. This drove ontology to transition toward epistemology, the third stage of metaphysics. Known as the father of modern Western philosophy, Descartes initiated the turn from ontology to epistemology, taking subjective agency and subjectivity as his starting point and drawing on reason and mathematical logic. Rationalism differs from early ontology. Rationalism stresses the role of subjectivity under free will, maintaining that the existence of the world depends on validation by the subject, whereas ontology holds that the world exists in itself, and the subject merely comes to know it through logical deduction. Rationalism emphasized the subjectivity and held that the world can be proven through rational inference. Nevertheless, the bare fact of "I think" can only prove one's own existence. It cannot justify other things or generate conceptual knowledge. This gave rise to empiricism, which underscored the importance of sensory experience. Empiricism and rationalism jointly advanced the development of epistemology. Kant's epistemology broke with the monistic ontology of old, transforming metaphysics from ontological monism into subject-object dualism. Empiricism prioritized sensory experience, while rationalism prioritized rational deduction. Kantian epistemology chiefly addresses how we know what we know, researching the nature, origin, and validity of knowledge, as well as its properties, criteria for judgment, and methods. Prior to Kant, Hume's skepticism challenged the foundations of epistemology. He argued that perception is unreliable, induction carries no necessity, and causality is not objectively real, posing challenges to both sensory empiricism and rationalism. Kant responded by arguing that human cognitive faculties possess objectively real, a priori forms time and space, and subjective active a priori concepts, categories such as quantity, quality, relation, and modality. Combined with sensory experience, these produce knowledge via synthetic a priori judgments. After Kant, metaphysics entered its fourth stage, methodology. Dialectics, rather than mathematical logic, became the method reconciling ideas and reality. Hegel resolved the inherent rift of dualism through dialectics, reunifying subject and object under monism. For Hegel, subject and object realize one another. As human beings comprehend the world achieves self-awakening through human cognition. Driven by absolute spirit, the subject actualizes the object, and the object fulfills the noumenon. Following Hegel, Marx put forward materialist dialectics in contrast to Hegel's idealist dialectics. He criticized the illusory character of metaphysics, shifted philosophical inquiry away from the abstract world toward the real human beings, and transformed the philosophy into a social practical science. He emphasized the unity of opposites and dialectical development of mind and matter, rather than crude material determinism. Metaphysics then moved into its fifth stage, existentialism. Heidegger introduced Dasein as the mode of being, meaning existence is dynamic. One understands being by grasping its absence. Sartre distinguished 2 modes of being in itself and being for itself, with being for itself corresponding roughly to Heidegger's Dasein. Finally, Wittgenstein brought metaphysics to an end. He held the metaphysical problems to be meaningless. What can be said must be said, whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent. An eye cannot observe itself without external aid. In summary, metaphysics underwent an evolution through ontology, theocratic thought, epistemology, methodology, for example. dialectics, and existentialism, and was ultimately terminated by Wittgenstein's philosophy of language. I am Wu Huaiyu, a PhD, from the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and a postdoctoral fellow from Peking University, and the founder of AI philosophy. For more detailed information, please refer to the complete version of this book. In addition to this short video, you can also click on my avatar to view more long videos.